Okay, it's actually picking up my voice now. Elepri, can you talk just to make sure that this is actually working for you as well? Nope, I'm not seeing anything. Classic. Okay, it's actually picking up my voice. Alright, try now.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Can you talk just to make sure that this is actually working for you as well? Oh, and it's, okay. Alright, everything is fine. We're just going to pretend the stream's just starting. Hey everyone, welcome to this ever-changed Devstream. Today I have Elepri with me again, and we're working on background music.
Hello.
Alright, so as I was saying to myself, Elepri's been working on this for a little while now, and has made some pretty significant progress over the past couple of weeks. So I guess we'll just kind of start off here with showing a little bit of that progress. I'm not sure exactly why it stopped playing there. Do you have any idea, Lepri?
It might be because of stream slowdown, perhaps?
Yeah, it could be. But anyway, I think that was a pretty good example of how much progress has been made. We haven't finished implementing the volume controls properly yet, or we haven't finished the ADSR either. So things definitely aren't exactly as they should be, but it's playing perfectly in tempo, and we're getting pretty close. So this is what we're going to be working on. What do you think we should start with? Do you think we should look into what's going on with the ADSR?
Sure, or we can do the Eon in multiple channels. That should be a really, really simple change.
Alright, key on in multiple channels. Can you explain to me what exactly you mean by that?
Okay, so if you have the layer, it has an entry count. And
Yep.
the first bit, if it's set, it means that it can play multiple sounds per key press.
Right, I remember that now.
And if I look, for example, in the entry for the entry music, it has one entry that's for nodes 0 to 31, and then there are two entries for 32.
Yep.
So if you have a node 32, it should play both of the sounds instead of just one of them.
Alright, so where do we have that information here? Is that loaded into the voice?
It is in the layer itself.
In the layer,
And I'm not
okay.
sure... okay, and we might want to check if the layer is actually loading correctly and not loading more than like 128 voices in this case. Bit of a fix-up, but...
Okay, yeah, so...
Okay, let's check.
Still
So it's doing the count. The count is correct because it's... I'm not sure if there's even possibility of having more than 16 per that, but can you maybe just change it so that the layer count is ended with the inverse of hex 80.
Yep. Alright, that'll do it. And
And we
plus
might
1 because
also need the...
for some reason they number everything as the upper boundary index rather than the actual count of the instrument or whatever.
I wonder if that's because they are using that in some kind of an operation and they're just doing some kind of a micro optimization.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, with the speed of the sound chip, I wouldn't be surprised. And we might want to add another boolean to this class.
Okay.
To check whether it plays multiple sounds. I guess that's the easiest way to do it.
Right. What field was that on?
It's on the layer count.
The layer count, right? Okay.
Just check if layer count has the first bit set.
Plays multiple layers?
Sure.
Okay, we got that.
Making it public.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason not to, even if these classes are intended to be internal. If we ever wanted to access them elsewhere, then it'll just be a pain in the ass.
I have been a good boy and I made them private and set up setters and getters.
Yeah, well, it's final, so I don't have any issues with public final variables, except for things like arrays and collections and things that can be modified.
Yeah, but if you get them, you can still modify them.
Yeah, in that case, with a getter, you would want to have like a immutable wrapper around it.
And okay, and
This
if
should
we
be
have
play.
the
This should be plays all layers, right? Because if this flag is set, then it plays all of them. I think.
mm, I am not entirely sure if it's always all of them. We can check in the okay, I'm gonna pull up sequencer.
Oh, right. It would do the key matching and stuff, right, and play all of the layers that match that key. So you're not actually
Yes.
doing any key matching yet.
I am doing some key matching, it's just kinda jank.
Oh yes, I see that here. But what is the starting key supposed to be used for?
The starting key is, I think, only used for ornamento.
Portamento, okay. Yeah, okay. So we see the key range here.
And for some reason, if I set this to the correct layer, it doesn't work because I think that the issue with that is like a note doesn't really have to match for the key off.
So we're gonna have to do something different here, aren't we? Where we need to be able to match multiple, or grab multiple layers for one note for when this flag is set, right?
Uh, yes. Yes, but we can just make. Well, that's a good. Can you go back into the BGM where it's called?
Yep.
It's called from BGM or?
Yeah, it's called from, or no, it's called from voice key on. See, we're getting the layer here, but we may have multiple layers. Is the thing.
No, voice key on is fine. You don't have to worry about voice key on. You have to worry about the BGM key on, which is calling the voice key on, I think.
Well, the thing is, it is the preset that has the information.
But from the BGM you have. Oh, right. So we might have to make it into perhaps into an array or a
That's what I'm
list.
thinking. Yeah, we'll likely have to make. Are we going to want to have an individual ADSR envelope for each of these?
I think
Probably.
I think probably we have to.
Okay, so in that case, we might want to have a like a container object that holds all four of these.
hmm I just went of the voice from the actual SPU, which keeps it on the voice itself.
Yeah, okay.
The entry could be fine for that because it already kinda returns a wrapper around the sound bank. It doesn't return the actual thing.
Yeah, it returns a
An
pair.
entry is a glorified pointer.
Okay, let's see what you've got here. Yeah. PCM data and then the next one.
The next
Okay.
is just an index into itself to implement some of the looping.
Okay. Why does it have to be an array? Is it multiple indices?
Um, well, the reason why I put it in an array is because the spec technically allows you to create a loops within the 28 sample blocks.
Okay.
So that was just the easiest way to do it. And if there's a non-looping one, it just ends with an empty block that points into itself.
Gotcha. Okay, so I think I'm going to create a class here called, like, I don't know, layer info or something, layer data, layer stuff. And that is going to have a reference to the layer, the sound bag entry, the ADSR envelope, and the sample rate.
It can probably have the node as well, as the node is kind of tied to the...
Okay, fair enough. This is just going to be a data holder. These are going to be final. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. We can get all this from the layer itself. I suppose we can do that calculation on the outside. Okay, so channel.get layer is gonna have
You
to
cannot do that calculation on the outside because it can change based on pitch. You might need to recalculate it later.
yeah, that's fine. We can do that as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this a list rather than an array because there may be multiple and we don't know how many up front.
We can tell that from the layer count.
But we might not be returning all layers.
That is true.
It would just be the ones matching. Okay, so final list layer.
Maybe make it the fast utils list.
Fast utils are, I believe there's only like specializations for like primitive types, so it doesn't have to use boxing.
Okay.
I don't think that there's anything for just standard lists that are
Oh, they are
pointing to
maps for
objects and
objects,
stuff.
not lists for objects.
Okay, so we'll be doing layers dot add, and then if not this dot layers multiple layers, return layers. Or I suppose we can simplify that by just breaking. And same here. Or sorry, if not this dot break. And we'll do the same thing here.
Actually, you might want to... This is interesting. I don't think the second part should ever be called if there are multiple layers called. I think if you have multiple, it has to be an exact match in the range. Because otherwise it would always play all of them.
That makes sense. Okay, so what are we doing here?
Just if place multiple layers and break. Below the first if, I guess.
No, I think what we want to do here... Hold on.
Or
Okay,
just wrap it in an if that's...
I think what we want to do is if layers is not empty, then break. Does that make sense? We would do if
Oh, yeah, that should...
not plays multiple layers and wait, yeah, if it doesn't play
But okay, this will be...
no, that's still not right.
I think we have to rewrite that entire thing.
So for multiple layers, we only want to do this part, right?
Yes. We might have to switch it, split it into 2 for loops. I think that's the easiest part. Yeah, like that.
So that makes sense, right?
Yes, the only issue with it is now that if it doesn't find a node, it will return an empty list. But that's fine, that will just give a null pointer and break itself.
Yeah, we'll cross that
So
bridge when we
that's...
get to it.
yeah.
Okay, so this becomes list layer.
No, for voice you have to have only 1 layer. Because voice is what actually plays it. So here you already can have only 1 layer.
Okay, so we need to refactor
When
this
you're no, it's fine, it's fine. This Kion is completely fine. The thing, because it's getting past a... okay, it will need some extra information. Maybe it can just get past the layer from outside.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna have to be. Okay, so this is going to be layered data. We delete all these. Okay.
And here you just have to check
Final list layers equals channel dot get layers for note. That should be get layers now, not just get layer. Okay. So
and now you
now
have...
we need to iterate over all of the layers.
and also for all of the voices.
Yes.
So you're gonna have to do... I would just make it a for loop for both.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
not
wouldn't
going
go...
to... The code, it'll be a little
or
bit
at
more...
least...
Yeah, it'll
Or
be a
at
little bit more
least
complicated, but we can do it like this.
you can
Layer
just take
index.
the int I from the voice index from outside and make it a while loop. Or do it like this, yeah. And you can have to add that. There's layer index is smaller than.
Yeah, and then here we do layer index plus plus.
Yep.
Now we do need to change something here. So we need a new way to determine if the voice pool is overflowed.
Uh, wait.
That's pretty easy.
We can do it at the end of the loops.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of,
I would use a Python 4 else, but
we can
probably Java doesn't have it.
we can split the split a declaration and assignment, and then if voice equals this dot voice pool dot length, yeah, that'll be fine. It's not pretty, but it works.
Eon is not called that often, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, this is as efficient as we can reasonably make it without going insane. Like,
And
this
it's not
is pretty
worth
good.
going insane over.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now this changes. We do new layer data layer. This dot layer dot note equals note, and then this dot layer dot sample rate. This is kind of ugly, saying layer dot layer. Oh, actually, I can just get rid of that part.
You should rename it to layer data if it's layer data.
Sure should. Okay. This dot layer data. Okay, let's make sure this still functions. Nope.
Oh, I think you're running into an issue that I run before. If you go into layers and you're getting the node, for some reason picking the correct node instead of the first node doesn't work, and I don't know why. Like if you're getting a layer based of a node in this what is it called?
This here?
Yeah, this here. The this dot layer offset index is for some reason wrong, and I don't know what's wrong with it.
I'm not sure I understand what the purpose of these are.
Okay, that's just a really janky way of doing. The thing is, you first have to check whether you have an exact match, and if you don't have an exact match, you have to find the closest match.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a janky way of doing that. And it might not work because of the multiple thingies.
Okay. I'm just gonna do this so that I can put a breakpoint here.
But it's gonna break before that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's not because of the multiple layers.
It's because that the layer that it returns, that is... oh, it's because... You know why I think that is?
Why?
Wait. The key off is based off a node as well, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you just for now add this dot layers and replace the offset index with 0.
I want to figure out what the issue is here.
It's really hard to debug because of the... You might want to change the scheduler to some kind of a wait with the counter, because the scheduler, it doesn't propagate exceptions very well.
Where is the scheduler?
It's in the sound test, the class that you're running.
I thought I had that open, but okay. Actually, I'm gonna leave that for now. I just want to take a look at this for a minute. So current offset. This is the different. It looks like it's the absolute difference between the two notes, or it's the absolute difference between note and the minimum key range.
Yeah, or the note and the maximum key range, depending if it's lower or higher.
Oh, right. Yeah, I see that. I think this should be... no. Okay, so if it's less than the minimum key range... I don't think it's supposed to look for notes below. I think it's only supposed to look for notes above.
That might be... that might be a reason, yeah. If you just comment out the current offset, it should still work.
Yeah, I just want to see how this is handled, if we can actually track that down. Yeah, so we should just be able to look for... Is this it?
Yes.
No, that's checking to see if the minimum key range equals a key range. Here... Yeah. Yeah, instrument can play note. So if instrument can play note, we do things normally, but what if it can't? We do nothing?
Yeah, it looks like it's just skipped.
Okay, please hold. Oh,
I
right.
know for
There's count of OXFF as well, which means something different again.
yeah, OFFF is just SFX. You don't have to worry about this. Those won't be handled in this.
Okay. Okay, so if we're playing multiple instruments, then the ending instrument is okay. That's fine.
You know what I thought about when I was reading this code? Like,
What?
why is it even checking and doing the is if else if and else? Those are literally the same statement. Like, why not just end it with 7F and
Yeah, who
then
knows?
set the OC based on the end with 80?
Who knows?
I can be one else statement. One.
Okay, so this value is set to false. So it only stops the loop if it's true. But this is only the case if instrument can play note. Um, Wait. If the patch volume is FF, then it can always play the note?
Yeah, because those are set up differently. SFX stuff is doesn't have all of the stuff.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to be checking this if it's on SFX because every single one of them is its own fully contained sound.
Yeah. So, yeah, literally the only actual thing it's doing in here is checking if the note falls within.
Yes, but there are notes that are being played that are outside of that range in the sequences.
And I mean that makes sense. That is something that MIDI can do. But this if statement is pretty concrete. Like, if the note doesn't fall within the range, it's not allocating voices. It's not, yeah, right? Like, I'm not crazy here, right?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if it's setting up some value somewhere and does something on the next pass or something like that. Also might be possible that it uses those to set some settings for some other setting. Like it tries to play sound, it fails to find a voice, and then when it modulates the next one, it uses the values from the previous.
Yeah, that's a good question. So this is going to break, right? So that's interesting. So why is this not working when doing this? Data says YouTube stream volume should be 2 to 3 times louder than it is. Okay, let me try and jack this up a bit. Alright, Elepri, can you talk?
I can
Testing,
boost myself as
testing,
well
testing.
if that's required.
Unfortunately, I already have my microphone set at maximum. So I will just try and talk louder. Okay, do you have any idea what exactly is wrong with this? Like why it just suddenly stops?
Okay, one reason why it could stop is when you're getting layers, you're returning an empty list because you break.
But I
and you
have a
run.
check here.
Yes, but you're running it from an executor that runs in a different thread, and it doesn't propagate exceptions quite well. Sometimes they get catched, sometimes they don't.
That
Which is
very
why
odd.
we should. The executor is weird.
Okay, so can we just not do that?
Yeah, you can just make a while loop, sleep, and check for time, I guess.
Yeah, so we don't need to do... So what we're doing here is just running this in another thread and then sitting here on the main thread, so yeah, we can definitely do this. Okay, while true. So we want long time equals system dot nanotime bgm dot tick 2205 samples.
You can take for more if you want it to be a little...
Period of 50 milliseconds, that's 1/20th of a second?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I think that's pretty easy to calculate here.
You need to be subtracting from the time. You need it exactly 50 milliseconds.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. So current time minus time, and then
Oh, and then you can do nano sleep, I guess.
so that's 50 milliseconds. So we want to do 50 million minus interval. That will give us milliseconds. And then okay, let's try this.
You need to sleep in nanos. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's an even number of milliseconds. Also, there isn't actually any guarantee that sleep will actually sleep in nanoseconds.
Yeah, that's... If you run into issues, you can just take for more and sleep
Yeah,
for
so
longer
we're
period.
not getting an exception. We're not getting an exception at all.
That's very, very weird. Because the ticking, it stops, right?
That time it stopped right at the beginning. So let's see where we are in here.
Because even if the sound
Um,
breaks, it should keep ticking the SSSQ.
oh, no. Okay. That'd help.
Oh, yeah, that might be a bit of
And
a...
also a math dot max of 0, so we can't sleep for a negative amount of time. Yeah, so we are failing to find the note. So let's see what happens if we just comment this out and let it play.
You might get a no pointer.
No, we wouldn't, but we are getting an invalid interpolation index? Or is it... Yeah, it's sample index. Why would the sample index be running out of
Mm,
bounds?
that's a very, very good question, because that's ended... Because the sample index is 28.
Yeah, the sample index is 28. Um, but you have it set up so that it can go up to 31.
Yes, because instead of using the last samples, I am array copying it. If you go back to the sample or process sample or whatever it's called.
Sample voice?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, sample voice. Um, it always copies the last 3 samples to the front after every
Yes,
sampling.
but this method here, get current sample index, you have and ox1f, which is 31. So the actual sample counter could go up to 31, and then here you're adding another 3. So this highest index could be 34, right?
Wait. Why does that happen? That has never happened before. No, it should go only to 28.
So it's entirely possible that this is not sleeping exactly the correct number of milliseconds. Uh, and if that is an issue, we need to do something about that. Like, we need to do something to make it so it's not going to crash if it's not, like, literally within the millisecond.
Within the millisecond is fine.
But I
That's
mean, like,
completely
if
fine.
it's outside of the millisecond, we need to do something to make sure it doesn't crash.
Yeah, but you have like 20 milliseconds of a buffer. So you would have to get really off.
Okay, so what do you think the issue is then? What's causing this counter to continue counting higher than it should?
Uh, if you add to it, it will check for 28. So it would have to be. Is it possible that you have one counter for two of the voices?
Let's see where it's being instantiated. Voice counter is in voice. So no, I don't think so. If it's greater than or equal to, that's private, right? Yeah. What is calling sample voice? Process sample tick.
Yep.
The scheduler is still running. We didn't comment that out. I wonder if that is it.
Yeah, that's probably
Yes,
it.
that's definitely it. Okay, what is causing an NPE here? Yeah, voice2.channel is null. So we're keying off a voice that's not loaded. That must be one of the notes that doesn't exist or is outside
Oh,
of all of the key
because
ranges.
yeah, that's one of the nodes that doesn't exist. Yeah,
So if we
that looks like the
say
case.
this dot voice pool voice dot get channel is not null. And it still dies, but it doesn't crash.
But this doesn't mean it died. It just means the sound turned off if the thing is still running. Try going into the sound test.
Okay.
And double the amount of samples in the BGM tech. And then set the time to sleep to half of that. Because otherwise you'll overflow.
Shouldn't we be sleeping for twice as long? Not half?
Yeah, sorry, twice as long.
Yeah, it still cuts out. Okay, let me rewrite this sleeping code here to be much higher resolution, just as a test. Um,
You know what's the issue? You eventually desync. You need to keep the time value at all times. Like if you have
yeah,
the nano, you define new nanos every loop. So if you have a few nanoseconds desync, it adds up over loops.
we need to ensure that that's not possible, though. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy it from here.
So you need a global nano counter, and then be maybe subtracting from it or something like that.
How many ticks per second do we want here? We were doing 10 ticks per second. Actually, rather than this, I can just do a thread.yield.
Oh yeah, that will be.
This is going to be very intensive, though. So yeah,
It's completely fine.
We're missing most of the. We're missing a lot of the voices.
You can sleep just fine. You just have to do the sound timer every single time and keep it outside of the loop. Like, if instead of the nano time thingy, you just do the sleeping as before, but the interval is based on the sound timer, then you should be fine.
Yeah, this will do that.
And you don't have to like yield every time. You can just sleep for longer.
We should be able to sleep one, and that should be fine.
I mean, you can sleep for the 100 milliseconds.
Nope. We cannot.
Or like whatever the difference is.
You would think that.
The issue before was that you were recalculating how much time is left every single time. You need to have an initial
Yeah.
timestamp.
Let me see. So the interval was sound timer. And then sound timer plus equals sound time. Not even close. Okay, so the interval is correct here, right? Um, we're taking the current time, subtracting the timer. This should not be plus sound time. So I'm going to leave that as sound time and switch to that. And move this out of the loop. Let's see if this can stay in sync. Okay, it does seem to be staying in sync. Okay, so that seems fine. Now, the issue is those voices that are not matching exactly.
Yep, they have to be there.
I'm going to switch this back to the title music for a second. Okay, so there's definitely a bunch in there that aren't matching. So I'm going to launch the game. And I want to see what happens here. Yeah, so immediately we are finding instruments that do not match. And it does just skip over it.
Wait. If for end instrument index.
So instrument index in this case is the layer index. So this is iterating over all of the layers and checking to see
Yes,
if it can play. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what we're doing.
but that means if it cannot play them, it skips to the next one. So just because it cannot play them doesn't mean that it's wrong or it's off. It just means that's the first layer, and it can be somewhere up there.
But it
That's what you're
doesn't.
checking. Break.
It doesn't actually it doesn't load the sound. Like it doesn't start playing anything if it doesn't find any that can play it, right?
Yes, but it can still do something. Like, this just means that the first layer is not correct. That's all that means.
Right. Okay. So we need to keep looking here. Um. Okay. Let me see what we've got here. Okay, so rather than doing this, I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to add a boolean out here, and we're going to say found equals true, and then at the end of this loop, if not found. Okay. This will hopefully make more sense. Okay, let's step out here and take a look. I don't really know what we're going to take a look at. Maybe what our offset is. Oh, there's way too much stuff in here. Offset is 569.
Can you maybe look back into the can find node method?
Just 1 second. 5820. Is it number 2 that's the SSHD? Or the SSSQ? No, it's number 1. And, shoot, what was the offset? $569. Oh my god, was that hex? I'm pretty sure that was the hex. No, 239 hex. Okay, so that is a key on. I don't know what information I'm going to glean from this. What did you want me to look at? Template note?
If it can't at the start, it increments the index, then it gets the ret value if it's correct, and then it subtracts from it again?
Yeah, so this is silly Legend of Dragoon code. This was just a raw memory pointer, so it would offset that pointer by the instrument index times the pitch of the structure, and then read the key range from that, and then decrement so it's back to the start of the array. So it's basically
Okay.
just doing an array lookup, but in a stupid way.
Okay.
Yeah. They're accessing, so they are in contiguous memory, so the memory is structured as if it was an array, but the variable is just the structure type, not an array of that structure. So in order for them to access it as an array, they would just increment the pointer, access the variables they wanted, and then decrement the pointer back to the base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just
I'm
disregard
kinda
disregard that stuff.
I'm kind of wondering, like, if that code is correct.
We can open it in Ghidra.
Because, like, this stuff is definitely broken in the SPU implementation. But it might also be that it's doing something after the if statement in the key-on method.
Okay, so yeah, you can see it does the increment there. If it's less than note, then yeah, so it's just doing that. So there's this method does match.
Mm-hmm.
In the key on method, instrument can play note. That is B bar 6. It's doing a stupid sign extend here. So let's just look for the end of that statement. Nope, it's just incrementing and looping.
That is very, very weird, because it's clearly playing something. And
Yeah.
if I set the instrument to 0, if it wasn't working, it played like fairly reasonably, which is how I had it set up before, because I couldn't figure this stupid thing out. Like if you, instead of offset, you add offset 0, it's...
Yeah, I'm just gonna run it again like this real quick. That is very wrong. Okay, let's make sense of what is going on here. So I know for a fact that you don't have to have a key, or you don't have to have a perfectly matching key range in MIDI.
I mean, it worked fairly well with the lowest value. So perhaps it could be checking the lowest and the highest one in...
Um, yeah, that's not related. We should look at real-time synthesizer, or what was it called? Real-time sequencer. Okay, not finding anything for key range here. Um, oh, those are all subclasses. Okay, I gotta track down where everything is in here again. MIDI message. Hmm. Right, I think we probably want MIDI event. Now where are these? Track maybe. Okay, that's just end of track. We're not interested in that. Okay, where are these messages coming from? Sequencer receiver. Where is this being called? There. I gotta be honest with you, I have completely forgotten what I'm looking for. Key range. I don't even know how to, or where to look for that. I wonder if that would be part of the synthesizer, maybe?
It's possible.
Check under the couch. I'll try that if I can't find anything. Soft voice, maybe? Process key-based controller.
Voice should have a key.
No, this doesn't look like it. I mean, this is handling some tuning stuff. It would be great if we had anyone working on this who actually knew anything about MIDI. Okay, sound font 2 layer. This might be relevant. This is... Okay, what is a sound bank resource? I think this is... yeah, no. That is not it. Instrument? Come
No,
on.
the soundbag doesn't have it. The instrument should, I think.
What is a global region? Okay, it is just a extension of that that does nothing. Aha, key from and key to. Are you what I want? Why are these hard-coded? The hell is a performer?
Instrument region. That sounds like something that should...
You would think. Oh god, that's a lot of constants.
Yeah, that looks correct. That looks correct. Because you get a layer based on the node.
Oh, what is this? So this is just reading raw bytes.
Yeah, I don't think you care about the region.
We have...
I think you care about the key from and key to.
Yeah, but those... I don't think these are actually getting... Okay, they are getting set.
My god, this is a horribly written code.
It sure is. Okay, so generator key range. I'm assuming byte 0 is the minimum and byte 1 is the
Yeah, then
maximum?
it's minimum, then it's maximum.
So that is setting the key from and key to. So there's the layer zone and the preset zone. And then we're setting the performer key range. So where is this being used?
Get
Okay,
keys.
that is
Huh.
just returning, that's just returning a string. That's just returning strings,
Oh,
so
that's...
it's just saying what it can play. Okay. Ooh, note on. Okay. If key from is less than note number and key to is greater than or equal to note number, yeah. And then the velocity matches as well. Right, this is what the velocity is for. Because you can have different layers for different velocities. But, as you can see here, they are also not doing anything special. Oh my god, this is so hard to read.
I'm thinking what might be happening is, like, if the node isn't in range, it just uses some kind of settings. But that's crazy.
Okay, what is performer? Oh my god, this method just doesn't end. Okay. So we've got this global layer. What are you, global layer? No, this isn't Sony code. This is the JDK MIDI player, or rather, sound font loader. Okay.
And then you wonder why I hate on Java.
Oh, I know for a fact that a lot of the code in the .NET framework isn't much better. This code was probably written around the same time as Legend of Dragoon, too. Let's see, do we have a a date stamp here? No. Okay, anyway, this is iterating over the layers. And for each layer, it is then iterating over the regions. What does split mean? What does sample ID mean? So if sample ID is null, then it gets added as the global region. Yeah, so this is part of this sound bank loader. So sample ID must be D at all. So I'm not sure that this is relevant to us. This is melting my brain.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna look at the actual SSHD. And there, in fact, is a starting key. And I'm wondering, what are the values of the starting key?
Yeah, maybe see if there is, see if there's any like all-encompassing keys or something like that.
Okay, so starting key in each one of these entries is a 0.
Okay. What is the maximum key?
And I don't see a 0.
I wonder if your math is just wrong here. Okay, what if instead of doing this, if layers is empty, then we iterate over this array backwards and just find one that has a minimum key range less than the note.
That wouldn't work because what if it's the closer one is the higher one, right? So if it's just over the maximum by like a note, then you wouldn't want to. What you could do is you could iterate over both of those. Take the lower offset, higher offset, do a minimum of those two to get the actual offset. And then continue.
Wait. If the minimum key range is greater than the note and the maximum key range is less than the note, isn't that backwards?
Wait. Minimum key range has to be.
That's backwards.
That could be backwards, yes. Wait. Yeah, minimum key range has to be lower than the note. And
yep, that was
that
backwards.
Could be I have to check the stream if it's playing now.
Yep, so we're still not, we don't have ADSR implemented or proper volume. But yeah, that was it. That was it. That's much better.
Well, the beginning of the ADSR works, only the release doesn't work.
Right, yeah. Yeah, this is sounding much better. We're running out of voices. Interesting. What is our layer size is just 1 there. So I do wonder if that is an actual retail issue with this song. If it can actually have that many voices loaded at once.
Wait.
Okay, can we easily just increase the number of voices here?
Yeah, you can. Just don't go too high because the OpenAL will not like that. But like 100 should still theoretically work.
Well, that didn't sound right. Did you hear that before it
Right.
shut down?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
jack
Yes.
this.
Yes. I
I'm
have.
gonna jack this way up and see what happens. Unfortunately, we have to listen to the start first. Nailed it.
Is it? What if it's returning more voices somewhere
Yeah, I have a
because of the
feeling
reverb?
that this is. Let's try it with that not loading multiple voices at once. Drew says, "Surprise organs." We can only hope that Drew is referring to the piano kind of organ.
That would be very alien style. Surprise!
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, I think that's the part where it's supposed to be modulated one channel, not the one.
Yeah, so it is indeed loading multiple. Drew, this isn't playing in-game audio, this is just loading files directly. We've still got a way to go before we can actually put this in-game. So just as a sanity check, I'm pretty sure this would have already crashed if this was the case, but I'll let it play until we get to that point.
Is it still overflowing the voices or not?
No, not with, sorry, yes, it will. Yeah.
Oh, right. You know what you need to do?
I
I
sure
know why
don't.
it's overflowing voices. The reason why it's overflowing voices, if you go to key off, it will key off only one of the voices, not all of them.
Okay. Chocolate, if we have
So,
a Severed Chains mix, it's going to be all bagpipes all the time.
so you
Yeah,
need
it's returning
to
here. We
get
just need to not return,
to...
right?
Yes. You can just play it. You can see like the. That's why I put the voices into the console, because it was overflowing that before with the.
Alright, let's try this again.
So far the numbers look much better.
Love it. Well, it's working.
Yeah, the highest number I saw was like 15, which is expected.
I would just like
So
to
you can
take
drop down the
take a
voices
moment
back
to say that
to.
I just got a text from my wife from the other room that says, "What the fuck is that?" Alright. So, that is progress, is what that is. I'm gonna go ahead and commit this. I guess use
Name
proper
it
key
because sounds from hell.
range. Use proper key range, and also, what else do we do? Play multiple layers when necessary. Let's try the main menu theme again. Nothing? Hello? There we go. Yeah, that sounds way better than what you sent the other day. So it was just that the key range logic being inverted.
That's good to hear.
I don't know the number of boss battle 2, Drew. We can play some random ones and see what happens.
30 or 35 was one of them, I think.
Apparently this is also the combat music. Weird. I'm also going to make this a number. Actually, I am
If you're gonna
going
have
to do
more,
this.
if you're gonna have more issues with it starting, you just can increase the first tick. That should fix it.
Okay. 58, 35. Let's see what 5835 is. Also, the combat music. Is anything not the combat music? That's not an actual file.
Some of them might not work because of the... some of them will not work because they have different indexes for the files, because they have the extra files.
Yeah. Ooh, that off key. Sounds like we're playing it on a wobbly record player. The popping sounds like a bad record player needle too. Nice. 2G, yes, it'd be really easy to do that, but that's not what we want to do. Yes, the best song in the entire game. That was not sarcasm. You can hear a lot of extra notes because we're not doing volume calculation, so they're all just kind of playing loud. Those would, well, I mean, they would be playing normally, just much more subtly.
There is some volume calculation, but it's like very, very... it's like 1/8 of the stuff that's supposed to be there.
Yeah, and there's definitely still something up with the pitch calculation. That song sounded pretty much fine, but the previous one before that did not.
It might have portamento or modulation on. If it has modulation for the pitch or portamento for the pitch, it will be off.
Definitely something up with the tempo there.
There's the...
It's entirely possible that we are not running this fast enough.
No. It's one of the settings. There's a setting for playing notes off beat, and it's that thing. I don't know how it's called in English, but like in music you have the little dot after notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that didn't sound right,
that's
though.
what it should... Yeah, that's a setting that allows you to do like triplets and stuff like that. And that's not implemented, so if there's something like triplets, they will be playing off beat.
Gotcha. Oh, that's the one we just played. Let's keep going. But so that being said, what about these ones that are delta milliseconds of like 1 millisecond? uh, how can we deal with that when we're sleeping for, you know, up to 100 milliseconds?
That is running completely separate from what you're sleeping.
Okay.
The delta off is converted to samples. So 44,100 per second.
Okay.
And you're sleeping for you're taking for the samples, so it's not like you can do multiple commands per tick.
Gotcha. Another one.
I had to rework it to work that way because otherwise it would be impossible to get it to work.
Yeah. Don't you love how they, rather than just not including files, they make copies of the entire battle theme, including the sound banks? Come on, where's all the music?
I think it's possible it's
Oh my god,
before.
another one.
I know that 5815 is also a music, but it has different file counts.
Come on, give us something. Give us some submap music. Yeah, so which one of these is the extra file? Oh, I think all the submaps, yeah, they have all these file ones that have the submap index or something like that. So let's do 5815 and adjust these indices. No, didn't like that.
Let me check the actual file. 2 is the sequence, and 4...
Yep, that's what I did. Yeah, so entry is null. It's trying to load the sound bank offset 10B80.
It's possible that the SSHD has a different file mapping for this. Or like
Yeah,
the
so it's
subfile
trying to
mapping.
load offset 10B80 from the sound bank, and that the file ends at F5A0. So I think there might be something up with your sound bank offset calculation.
The sound bank should be fine. What I'm thinking is that the SSSQ or SSHD has the file at a different index.
Well, I updated the indices.
I mean the subfile within the SSHD. There are those sets into the...
Yeah, we'll need to figure out how to deal with those.
We probably have to pass them from either outside or have some specific loader that works based on the number of files, because that's how it's handled in the original code, I think.
Yeah. So, did you say you implemented pitch bend?
Yeah, pitch bend is implemented.
Okay. I thought that the first guitar note that bends is a pitch bend message, but it doesn't sound like it's being bent. It sounds like it's staying constant.
You can check in the calculate sample. Oh wait. Check if a pitch bend is calling calculate sample rate.
Yeah, it's definitely not
Okay,
bending.
well.
Where would that be? Should be in here. Pitch
In
bend.
BGM, there's pitch bend.
Doesn't look like it.
It's setting pitch bend.
It is setting pitch bend, but it
Oh,
doesn't look like it's.
yeah. It needs to call the calculate sample rate on channel. Yeah, it needs to call the calculate sample rate on the voice that it's.
On the voice.
Yes, on the voice. Yeah. Oh, that's why I didn't do it, because it's very much yikes. So you need to look for each voice in the.
Would it make sense for the channel to just have a direct reference to its voice?
One channel can be in multiple voices at a time. So it would have to be collection, and that would be weird.
So we would need to loop over all the voices and see which one uses that channel?
Yeah, you need to loop over all voices and see if the voice is using that channel.
Okay, so you have get channel on it already. No, so it's a voice dot.
Yeah, you need to
Yeah, I
do
guess we should just have a
voice, and there
message
should be.
or a method to update sample rate.
Oh, I deleted this and forgot to put it back. You need to only update sample rate if the layer is not null.
Layer
Because you
shouldn't
can
be able to
pitch
be
bend.
null.
You can pitch bend before you key on for the first time.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. This may make things sound a lot better.
It was there before, but I removed it when I was rewriting.
It's backwards. It pinch bent down instead of up. Did you hear that?
Uh, yeah. You can fix that kinda easily. Okay, you're gonna have to fix that on two places, and that's on layer. No. Layer doesn't have font. It has only multiplier. On channel, there's a set pitch band, and you're gonna have to put. Okay, no, this is correct. Just multiply the entire thing by -1. That's. I know it's an annoying fix, but it should work.
Why though?
Because it's mapping it to -1 to 1.
Yeah, that sounds right. Let's find the first world map again and see if that fixes the pitch. I don't remember where it was. Yeah, it is very close. Yeah, this is much better. This isn't great.
I think it's just a mixing issue, to be honest.
There's definitely some pitch issues there still.
You know why? Those are. Is there a chance that those use the breath control?
Good question.
Because those could be. Okay, let me check if I'm actually logging breath control. I don't think I am, right? Yeah, I'm only checking for pan and for volume, and breath control is. What is breath control?
So yeah, if I do this...
No. It's not. It's not there. That this won't catch. This won't catch it. It's in control change. Go into control change. And I'm only casing on.
We'll add a default here too.
Volume. This will break very fast if you put default there. There are so many settings that are not implemented yet.
Well, let's do SR then. Yeah, that's redundant call. So we should see some red messages here. probably.
Already did.
Yep. Yeah, bad control change 1.
So 1 is the modulation wheel that could be changing pitch.
Yeah, that typically does change pitch.
That's probably it. I am 99.99% sure that the pitch calculation formula is correct, because that's just pure maths.
Yeah. So let's see what the modulation does. Yeah, so it multiplies along with the pitch bend. The insane one asks, are you editing the game's code? Yes, we are. This is a project that I started a couple years ago called Separate Chains. It is a reverse-engineered port of Legend of Dragoon to PC. So this is essentially the game's original source code, but with the rendering code and audio code and stuff completely rewritten to work natively on PC, Linux, Mac, Steam Deck, eventually Android phones too. Should we implement modulation right now?
We can, if that's not gonna be too much of a hassle. There might be quite a lot to modulation.
No, you can't just open a PS1 game's code. I have translated this from the original assembly. So like this right here, this is the game's code. This is the compiled code in MIPS assembly language. So I've essentially taken all of this and translated it into Java.
Now, I'm not... Wait, modulation has to be set by channel, right?
This is channel.
Now that you're here, can you just change the set of a pan to not divide by the minus 64 and just make it value divided by... Wait, no, that value minus 64 instead of 64 minus value. Then you can divide by just 64.
Oh, you mean for these, and then just do this instead?
Yeah, that should... Yeah, that should make it reside in the correct range.
Okay. Did I spell... Oh, modulation bend. Okay, so let's...
But there's a modulation time as well, so maybe there's a data? command that supplies something to it?
What an excellent question.
Because modulation should be able to modulate anything it damn pleases.
It doesn't look like it does. This is the only place that it's actually being used.
Interesting.
Okay, so it is pitch bend times modulation divided by 255, then minus modulation plus 1 over 2 minus 64.
That's gonna be some stupid hack.
Yeah. But what manner of stupid
That's
hack?
still... Okay. Okay, you can take this entire thing, copy it in, and just use it to set pitch bend.
Yeah, we should... Wait, oh, right, pitch bend uses this waveform. This is not the same pitch bend. Yeah, okay, so pitch bend uses that. We're going to need to look into implementing that. So this will be instead, we'll just use the OX80 here to start with. Hold on. Okay, what is this pitch bend multiplier stuff?
But I'm thinking that this is more of a breath control than a...
Okay, look at this.
It's using breath. It's not...
If modulation is enabled, it overwrites the pitch bend. Yes, we are rebuilding the audio engine right now.
But this is also using the breath control. So it's not only modulation, it's also breath control.
Yep. But what does that mean? And what the hell is this?
And it's also using portamento. Great. It does everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense because all of them can change pitch, so it makes sense to do them at the one spot because you have to reference each other, but...
Yeah, if modulation enabled or portamento changing or whatever this is. Yeah, so if modulation is enabled or portamento is changing, we do some root key calculations. Then if the modulation is enabled, we actually overwrite the pitch bend. Whatever the hell this is, if pitch bend is positive, then okay, we use the multiplier, divide by 64.
But that's just because you need to
the
shift the octave. If you actually get too low...
Yeah, okay, so if modulation is enabled, it actually incorporates the pitch bend into the note itself. the note and the sense, and then sets the pitch bend multiplier to 1 or nothing. Yeah, okay, so it overwrites the pitch bend, but then it recalculates it on the note value itself. However, it is using this variable here, 4e, which I thought might have been tempo because they're being set to 120 here, but it does not appear to be so.
That seems to be like a timer, given that it's using the portamento time something as well. Portamento time elapsed. Note for e minus portamento time elapsed. That might be target.
Target
That
note?
might actually be target now. Yeah. Either that or the beginning note or the target note. Can you check what the thingy was, what the note was when it's written to it?
When it's being written, it gets set to
When it
120.
writes the note to 4e.
So it gets set to 120 in multiple places when things are being reset. Like this is this is initialization here. They're all set to 120. Here it's being set to note.
Okay, I think 120 is C9. That's the mid C, I think. So that would be setting the note to the most used bass notes in MIDI.
Yeah, that's C9. That is not the most used note though. Like that's very high. That's almost the highest C.
What is the... There's some default note and it's some C. I don't know which C it is.
Yeah, I mean, like the default is going to be somewhere down here, like C4 or something, C5. Yeah, middle C is C4, and that is note 60.
Oh, yeah. It's 60, right.
So why it would be getting set to 120, I'm really not
But
sure.
check what's doing with the variable note before it sets it.
What do you mean?
If playing note portamento is less than 0, note for E minus portamento time elapsed.
So yeah, that's self-referential. It's
So
based on itself.
yes, so it's gonna be either the current position, maybe.
Now, I wonder if this might actually be wrong in severed chains because this does not. Well, hold
Look
on.
like a note.
Yeah, 243. That's well out of the range of notes. So this may actually be the wrong.
That might be time. That might be time total because it's always adding to it.
Yeah. Now, I did
No,
actually. At one point, I did actually look at
no,
this in
it's
Ghidra and try and match up those variables. UVAR 13 is getting passed in here. So Yeah, that is correct. It is the correct variable.
So it's note.
It certainly seems like it. Unless that's a bug
Okay,
in
okay.
the code, in the retail code.
Don't think so. Don't think so. Wait, it would make sense for Portamento to, on every frame, change the note that it's playing and recalculate the sample rate.
Yep.
Because it means going up or going down. And
Yeah, and that is
if
what's happening here.
new Portamento is less than 0, would mean if it's decreasing or increasing. And it's either subtracting from the note or it's adding to the note. So that's definitely a note.
Yeah, and I mean, it is changing the sense here as well. It just seems very strange that the
Yes,
default
exactly.
value is 120.
Yes, but like, okay. It's gonna reset it probably every single time anyway.
It's very strange that the default value is 120 and it is being clamped to like 243 or whatever it was, when that is way out of range of the actual valid notes.
For notes. It doesn't matter for the calculation. You can
I suppose they might just be clamping it to whatever their pre-calculated table supports. It's weird that they would have made it so that it could have such a wide range, but I don't know.
the thing is the note doesn't really matter. Like you just increase the sample rate based on the note. So the note could be 7 billion. The sample rate would then be like incredibly high, and it would not handle it. But it doesn't really matter. It can be outside of the note ranges.
Well, they use pre-calculated tables, so it would,
All right. Yeah, it would break.
yeah. Okay, but anyway, back to this.
Oh,
Um,
but they don't. They use. Wait. They use pre-calculated tables, but they are shifting by octaves,
oh
and
yeah, I
they're
suppose
using bit
they're,
shifts for that. So they can go as high as they want, or as low as they want.
yeah, it uses modulo and stuff, so, uh, anyway, that implementation is fine. Um, so, the very strange thing that I'm not quite understanding here yet is that the only value this is ever set to is 120. Um, it's set to note, which is based on the value that it currently has. It's also set to 11C here, but this 11C is set to that note value as well. Um,
Could it maybe be set to the note from the voice or the
no,
Keyon?
no, it's not. Like, this is all of the references here. I believe it is, yeah, it's actually set to 120 in key on.
That's bizarre.
So I'm wondering if if that might just be like a midpoint, and then that value actually gets scaled to the appropriate note.
Okay, let's read what it actually does. So it does 256 minus the node that it has set as a new portamento, which should be the target node.
Mm-hmm.
Then divide that by 10.
You missed this part here, which is to scale it over time.
Yeah,
And
then it divides by total
fraction.
time.
Yeah. So 256 minus the actual... Well, let's see what new portamento is.
So it doesn't matter what value it is, because at the first time it's going to be reset based on the new portamento, which is being set from the sequence.
Well, it's subtracting that from 4e though, from itself, right?
Yeah, so it's just going to be some midpoint.
Now, new portamento is whatever MIDI uses for its portamento values. I wonder if I have portamento in here. No.
Also, portamento might not be in full notes. It might be in like quarter notes or something like that.
Okay, yeah. So 63 is the midpoint. Wait, 0 to 63 is off. 127 to 64 is on. What does that even mean?
Okay, let me look at the different
Maybe this is musical notation, and portamento off means slide down, and portamento on means slide up.
Okay. Portamento Control 84 activates the portamento between the note that is already sounding and the next note on the same channel. So
Do we have any MIDI experts in the chat? So I do strongly suspect that a value of 0 to 63 is a portamento down, and 64 to 127 is portamento up.
yeah, that could be. But it's checking whether it's smaller or larger than 1, so it should be checking the first bit.
However, new portamento, it's checking if it's less than 0 or greater than 0.
Oh, it's checking the new portamento, not...
So this is very...
Wait. New portamento is gonna be... It's not gonna be probably exact note, but it's gonna be like -2.
Hold on though. So look at this. This is reading from the sequence data, right?
Yes.
Unless SSSQ does this different than MIDI, this can't be negative. Because parameters are never higher than 127.
So Yeah, that's... Yeah, because if the first thing is a flag, right? No, 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 no. It can be. It can be more than that.
No, no, MIDI parameters can never be over 127.
I mean, it would still work.
But that would only allow
Because
portamento
nothing...
up. Unless that calculation is just wrong, which I'm not ruling out. Um, okay, what is portamento? That's message, no, that is control change 41.
Wait, all of the... Half of these MIDI CC values are assigned to an on-off switch. 0 to 63 off or 64 to 127 on.
Okay, I don't know what to make of that then.
Where's... Which command is portamento again? Is it
Uh,
by...
it is control change 41.
Control change 41. Oh, control 41 is... This is different in MIDI. But if I look at MIDI, it has portamento time as the command, not the actual note.
So, from what I'm looking at here from the SSSQ, um, it does have portamento time, and then it's followed by new portamento.
So it's reading another thing after that?
I'm going to play the intro song here until we get to a point where it does portamento. Apparently I left that in. That was not intentional. Okay, there is no portamento there. There was portamento on the South of Sergio song, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what we were playing. Yeah, Drouse, the issue is we're trying to figure out... Oh, wait. Does Portamento just say to to slide into the next note and not a specific note?
No, it should have a note set. But it's possible that they made it slide to the next note. But Portamento should be possible over multiple notes. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just like next note.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening, right? Because that value was just on or off. Also, I am not getting a Portamento message here.
Portamento time changes the rate of glide between two different nodes. This causes a pitch bend between 2 units on a value.
So we're just being dumb. It is just on or off, and yeah, it doesn't slide to a specific node, it just slides to the next node.
The rest might be the time, maybe? Or maybe it's just on-off and the time is a different...
No, I'm looking at the code here, and it's reading time followed by that new Portamento value. Unfortunately, I am not seeing any Portamento messages at all. Oh, it wasn't Portamento that we were seeing on that, it was modulation.
Yeah, it was modulation. Just that the modulation and Portamento tie together in that method.
Yeah, shit. So I have no idea where we would find a song with Portamento.
Maybe one of the battle music?
Yeah, I'll just fire up a battle and let it play and see what happens. Yeah, Drost, I think you're right. From what we were seeing in the specs, oh right, yeah, the battle music doesn't work in game in the old sequencer, so I can't even check that. But yeah, what we were seeing there, it was saying that 0 to 63 was off and 64 to 127 was on, so it sounds like what you're saying is right.
So that's just like a bit for on and off and then value on the same byte?
Yeah, okay, so interesting thing here, in the MIDI converter that I wrote, I do not have a handler for Portamento, so I don't think Portamento is actually used. Like, at all.
Mm-hmm. Just modulation then.
So I'm perfectly content with pretending it doesn't exist, at least for now. Just absolutely eating it into oblivion.
Go sit in a corner. We're doing so bad.
Yeah. Hey Justin, how's it going?
Okay, so let's... do you still want to work on this? Or is it too late for you?
I am definitely, well, we're nearing 3 hours here, so we'll probably shut it down soon. But I am...
Yeah, because I'm near where I am.
Yeah, it's real late for you. You're 5 hours ahead of me? You say 4 a.m.?
Yeah, it's 3:44 right now. So
Yeah.
5 hours.
Yeah, you're 5 hours ahead of me. Yeah, alright, well, let's give it another 10 minutes. Okay, so back to the modulation code. Let's just see what we can learn in the next 10 minutes. So, breath does something. Breath is used in the calculation of that waveform that modulation uses. Yeah, so it looks like breath and modulation are linked. However, if we, for now, just use this OX80 base value for the pitch bend for modulation, we do not need to worry about breath. So let's ignore that temporarily. So when pitch bend is active, it resets the actual pitch bend variable, but then it does recalculate the pitch bend on the note itself. Oh shit. That uses that 4e value as well. So I guess this also uses a base of 120 for its calculation.
So if note is 120, then they add something divided by 64 to it.
Yeah, that would be the pitch bend. Okay. So I'm just going to try and simplify a few of these variables.
So V0 is pitch bend multiplier. Or like the actual value of a pitch bend times the multiplier.
Yeah.
Or like pitch bend shift or whatever. I love how, because this is of a decompiler, you see the instructions reordered to use multiple adders at the same time.
Yep. Although I don't think that the PS1 actually had multiple adders. I think it only had the one.
Or maybe it's just like in trying to split out divisions, because those took more cycles.
Yeah. Yeah, Drowse says, I believe 120 as the base here is used because it's easily divisible to use shorter equations in code, and that may be the case. 120 is definitely highly divisible.
But is 120 easily divisible in base 2?
Yeah, I was just actually thinking about that as well. I was just thinking it's kind of odd they didn't use 127 or 128, depending on how they implemented it.
Yeah, 120 is not that easily divisible in base 2. Because that's hex 78.
This is a very good question.
I mean, you can divide it by 2 multiple times, but...
so again, what exactly is this doing? So one thing kind of interesting here is if we do this, divided by 64 times 16 is equivalent to divided by 4, but we'll of course lose some information because we're
Wait,
dividing
wait,
by a
wait.
large number
At the
first.
end, it subtracts v1 from v0. So
So
I'm thinking that might be some bit hack.
that's similar to a modulo.
So this v0, v1 is probably all calculation of the actual pitch bend. Because if you're getting pitch bend, right, what you need to do is
Oh, hold on. Okay, so this is the same
v0.
as... So we're doing this divide by 4 here first. So this is the same as divided by 16 times 16. So that is equivalent to mod 16. Right? No, that's the opposite of mod 16.
No. It's just getting rid of the remainder.
Yeah,
It's
that's the opposite of mod.
Equivalent to and with the thing lower than 16. What's that? It's just yeeting the last 4 bits.
Yeah. Okay, but that...
1110000. So it's and with FO.
Yeah, it would be... Yeah, okay, what else do we have here? Okay, so the same thing applies down here as well. This is divide by 16 times 16.
But wait. Doesn't the order matter? Because of the V0 in between there.
Oh yes, this is the bottom one is backwards. That was the case above, but they're using the opposite variables here, so it is not the case.
So the first time you get V0, you're essentially getting the value of pitch bend. But pitch bend is like you're getting it like 1/64th of how many notes are in the pitch bend multiplier. So you're essentially getting a thing that can be 0 if it's no pitch, and can get to how many 64ths of a note you're up or down is the first V0.
Yes.
Then it adds that divided by 64 again to the note.
Yes, so this is 1/64th of a note, so this is adding the whole number of notes.
Yes. then it divides it by, the V0 is divided by 4, so it transforms it into a 1/16th of a note.
So since so this yeah, okay, so this I think is actually doing a modulo here. So this is mod 64 to get the remaining cents, or the remaining 64, but maybe converted to a hundredths?
So you take 64s, you divide them by 4, so you have 16ths.
Yeah.
You divide that by 16, and then you get rid of the last few bits.
Yes, so this is the whole number of sixteenths. And then here we subtract the sixteenths of notes, or sorry, we subtract the whole number of sixteenths from the sixteenths.
So that's a modulo.
Yes, that is a modulo. And here they're doing it backwards.
Yeah, they're doing the same, just in opposite direction.
So here they're subtracting the sixteenths of notes from the whole number, and that will result in a negative number of cents, right?
They are taking whole 16s minus the actual 16s. That's a negative number of 16s.
So I think we can actually do this just using negative numbers instead of doing special case handling for negative and positive. Um, so I am going to copy this out temporarily and comment that. So I think we just always subtract by 64.
No,
We
you need
add,
to flip that. It's flipped in the other statement, because one way you're getting the.
but this is positive pitch bend.
Oh, right, and it can be negative. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
Yeah, we
so
can do this.
instead of this, we just do math.floor mod, which handles negative modulos. And that should be V0 and V1. Wait, no, it should be. Hold on. No, it should be V0 and 16. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to move that divide by 4 down here.
I know for a fact this won't work.
Why is that?
Because of the second... Well, the way you do this is when you're changing pitch, for reasons you usually want to increase the sample rate. You don't want to decrease it. So that might be an issue, because if you have a note and you have note plus 64s divided by 64,
Mm-hmm.
if the 64s are like -2, you still want to go down a note. But here you won't. It's
Yeah, you would.
-2 divided by 64 will be 0. On the second line, on the note equals note plus 64s divided by 64. If the 64s are -2, division will result in 0.
But also, if it's +2, it will result in 0. In that case, it would be handled by the sense.
But yes, but if you're gonna go, I'm not sure negative sense work, but
Well, they... I mean, this should match what we have, what's going on here. I'm 99% sure negative sense do work. If we look into this here, yeah, I think this here is an offset for the sense. So positive and
okay.
negative.
If they work, that's fine. Okay, that would
Because
actually be
I'm
nice.
quite certain that this is equivalent to this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, this is the old audio, so I'm not sure if this is using modulo or not. I do know that the world map theme was using modulation, so let's pop in there and see what happens. G says, this code makes negative sense all the time. What are you talking about? Okay, so some of these are getting not played at all, and I'm wondering if that is because of this. Okay, now let's revert all of this and see if those notes do play. for it to recompile. Okay, so those notes still aren't playing. I am going to restart it and test it again fresh and just make sure that's not just some strange interaction with the live swap.
From my experience, those never really work.
I use it pretty frequently and it's very, very rare it doesn't work, but best to be safe. Yeah, okay, so those notes still aren't playing. So it wasn't just an issue with me doing this. Okay, so we figured out a lot about the pitch bend, or the rather the modulation code here. So I think we'll be able to use that information to implement it properly. But that will be a job for another day because it's getting late for me and it's getting very late for Lepri. So I'm just going to commit this.
Honestly, I wanted to convert the pitch bend to sense anyway.
Yeah.
Because pitch bend is surprisingly hard to pre-calculate. Because, you know, you have different multipliers. So it makes significantly more sense to convert it.
It makes more
What
sense.
I find weird that this method is not shifting the octave.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's changing the note and it's resetting the pitch bend and then it's running it through the calculation.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Also, you just said that it makes sense to convert it to sense. Just throwing that out there.
Shush.
All right.
But listening to the old audio makes me think that like this implementation is already like significantly better.
Yeah, the sound quality is definitely much higher. And once we get the ADSR implemented properly and the volume working and et cetera, the game audio is going to sound so much better than it does in retail. Like, so much better. Alright, well, on that note, I think that we should wrap things up. We have been going for over 3 hours, as 2G just mentioned. I'd like to thank my Ko-fi supporters, my founders Jman001 and Deningrad, my researcher Zach, and my mercenaries of Orthod, Doom Metal, Platinum Sarge, and Milk Lizard. Stay tuned for the playthrough stream on Friday. Who knows? We might even have music implemented by then. I doubt it, but, you know, we might.